Welcome to Around the Kinky Campfire podcast. This is your host, the Cuddle Gigolo, aka El Comidon, aka Mango Boogies, but also known officially as H.H. Julius, your entertainment creative. I'm here with Miss Rue, our education guru, and our goal in this podcast is to destigmatize the taboo topics of kink, non-monogamy, and BDSM. We like to educate through awareness and with our experiences, and we are not certified professionals as of yet. So our non-judgmental topics, with a dash of facts, are to be taken mostly as entertainment and with, some slice of life anecdotal stories. Your opinions, lifestyles, and or way of thinking may not be in alignment with ours, but your opinion, lifestyle, way of thinking is also okay as well. And the fact that you have an opinion is valid. We're not here to change your minds. We are here just to provide a different point of view. Please join us every second and fourth Thursdays of every month, and our episodes are uploaded to all major platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, etc., etc. Please look forward to this coming episode, as we will start shortly, and make sure to especially pay attention to our ASR Minute, which will start very soon. Welcome to Around the Kinky Campfire. Grab a seat, pour a drink, and let's turn up the heat. This is the podcast where we explore the wild, wonderful, and sometimes wicked world of kink, BDSM, and alternative lifestyles. Whether you're a seasoned player, a curious newbie, or just here for the stories, we've got something for you. Join us on Thursdays on your favorite podcast platform as we share experiences, dive into deep discussions, and may even spark a little fire of your own. No shame, no judgment, just real talk around the kinky campfire. Let's get lit. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Around the Kinky Campfire. Yes, I have myself here, the host, the immaculate H.H. Julius Marquise, or just Julius if you're feeling less fancy. And I actually have a guest with me today, so if you look at the episode time, it is a little bit longer than it usually is, maybe like double or so, depending on how much time we have left. My friend, been forever.
Hello. I know.
Who are you, and are we still friends? Because it's been like forever since we've talked on a recorded platform.
Yes. Hi, for everyone listening. I'm Shannon Elliott. I was on an episode or two like a year ago, and then the world just did the world's thing, and I fell off the radar in terms of Around the Kinky Campfire. So I'm back. We are still friends. We never stopped being friends, by the way.
Yay! I'm so happy.
But yeah, I'm really excited to be back.
Yes, thank you. Welcome. Hooray! Everybody clap. In the campsters, yes, out there, they're clapping while they're listening. I'm sure they are in their car or their couch. Yes, welcome back. We are still
on the steering wheel,
and then maybe we'll find out, depending on what Shannon wants to share, what was going on. I've heard about it. Will you? ? Find out in a few minutes of this episode. For now, I forgot. This has been so long since I've had somebody. I forgot I have a name. I am not Julius Marquise. I am Edel, the Noble One. If anybody still remembers my bit from so long ago, because it's been a long time since I had anybody on the show, I used to do a thing where I would come up with names until I officially changed my name to Julius Marquise. Sure. But one thing we didn't forget is I have a drink. Do you have a drink, Shannon? Shannon came prepared. Still not sponsored by anything, but I have key lime. This might be a video. I don't even know. I'll probably cut that part out if it's not a video. But for right now, I can show what I have. I have key lime sparkling water. And then we have our ASMR. It was like a minute, but now it's 30 seconds. But really, it's only like 2 seconds. So at a count of 3, 2, 1, Shannon, let's just drink for as long as we can, even if it's half a second. 3, 2, 1.
I think I'm going to get the hiccups.
Yes, ASMR. If you listen to previous episodes, Campers, you know I choke on my liquids. I've done it before. Yes, exactly. Yep, that. Yeah. Hard to take it down in one swallow. So, and it's very cold.
Too much.
What? Have you not been on this podcast before? That is exactly what this podcast is.
Too much to swallow.
Oh, yeah. You hate it when you're a spitter. Okay, so I have key lime. It's not sponsored, but yet we will still take sponsors. There we go. Okay, so Shannon, time to stop messing around. Where have you been, and why were you in the deserts of a place long ago that we don't know where? Please fill us in. We're all on the edge of our seats wanting to know what happened.
I did that thing that everyone accuses people of and no one likes to admit to, but I will admit to it, where I got a boyfriend.
Uh-oh.
And I forgot the rest of the world existed for a couple months.
Oh, no. How could you?
I know. It was really sad. Relationship was a whole thing, but we dated for about 5 months. And over the course of that period of time, I lost quite a bit of myself. Wasn't really sure who I was when I came out of that relationship. And it meant that I had a lot of friendships and relationships that petered off. And so it's been a year since I've been hanging out with Sir Julius. And yeah, but if we want to talk about that more, I'm happy to spill all of the tea. I have no qualms with that.
Well, Shannon, if you have any helpful tips for people that got lost in relationships, you can go ahead and share what you like consensually. Otherwise, you guys won't hear it because I edited it out.
Perfect. Yeah. I think the biggest thing that really helped me in terms of navigating my way post-relationship was the fact that I did manage to hold on to some really core friends and had some checkpoints throughout the way that really helped me identify that this relationship is not being conducted in a way that is in accordance with my values. And the things that I said that I stood for and that I believed in and I wanted out of my life is not how this is going. So for some context, I am bisexual, I am kinky, I am queer, I am solo polyamorous. And so the idea of me being in a relationship to begin with was kind of a big deal. The idea that I would take on a partner in the way that I did was a huge shift. Very much in alignment more with a monogamous relationship style, with a traditional escalator relationship. And there were so many red flags that I ignored, and just not even ignored, but just let pass by. And I didn't really notice them because I was focused on this other thing, that I didn't see signs that I wasn't the person I said I wanted to be. And I had some really great friends who stuck with me and would nudge me and say hey, this doesn't sound like you. And in the end, I was visiting with a bunch of kinky author friends. And they were hearing the stories that my best friend had been hearing for 5 months. And they said, I'm sorry, what? So one of the big things, for some context, this person and I, we met in December of last year, so of 2024. And by mid-January, we were quote unquote in a relationship. And it was something that when I look back on, I felt very pressured into by some of our friends and the expectations of this other person and just a lot of the other things that were going on. And as someone who for a long time now has said that I'm solo polyamorous, that I want to have multiple partners, multiple relationships, that I want to maintain my autonomy when it comes to my living situation, my finances, like those types of things, those big kind of pillars of being an individual. I think that got pushed to the wayside. And so we dated for about 4.5 months, 5 months, something like that, 4 to 5 months. So basically January until May. And in that time, the Cliff Notes became that he basically moved in with me, to the point where one of my friends literally fell on the floor when I told her that he had bought a mattress for my apartment. He got tired of sleeping on my bed, and so he bought a king-size mattress because he wanted that, and I said, okay. As someone who is child-free by choice, he has 4 of them, of various ages, and I won't say that, just like a teenager and some younger kids. And so there were a lot of different components of us as individuals that were not in alignment with what I had said I wanted out of life. And I just had to learn that the hard way. And so come May, when I saw all of my friends from Smut Lovers, I was on a trip with them and filling them in on my life. And they looked at me like I had lost my mind, because in a way I had. I was full on rose-colored glasses and involved in a relationship that was ultimately not for me, so it ended. And then we've been coming back online. After that, I wrote a book, processed a lot of emotions about it. Got to see Julius at the conference, and then now we're here talking about all of it.
Yeah, I got filled in with all the information, which is very interesting for me as well. Now, I don't know you as long as you're friends, but yes, I was shocked, to say the least, by this information. So yeah, two months then moving in. Want to talk about red flags, because everybody has questions about red flags. The people's on the YouTube, the people, the Reddit people, and the campsters know this, and I'm a big Redditor or peruser, and there's always like a red flag question in there. So
yeah,
for you, what is your philosophical stance on red flags?
Like, do they exist? Of course they exist.
Well, yeah.
I'm confused by the question.
Okay, I will answer the question, and then you can have an opinion about it. So,
okay,
I view red flags as not like relationship killers or potential for relationship killers. My thing is, if somebody has a red flag, how willing are they to do some self-reflection when I give them information that it's like contrary to what they think? So, for example, somebody's rude to like waitstaff. That's like a huge thing on pretty much everybody's list. If I point out to the fact that, hey, you're pretty rude to that person, they really didn't do anything and it's not their fault. If they're like, no, I didn't, I'm like, oh, well, this is going to end right here. This is not going to be a thing. But if they're like, oh, you know what? Even if it's like a day or two later, which in that case, I'm just going to be hyperbolic about it. I probably wouldn't contact them afterwards. They would have to contact me. And that's pretty much it. Even after the post-date recap text that usually happens, I'm like, I don't even want to talk to this person. But if they're like, you know what, I was really having a bad day, I'm not usually like that, can we go out again? Or just like, or do you want to go out again? I'm like, all right, so they had a bad day. Let's see if they do it again. So my thing is, like, some people are very like red flags, no. And it's like, I'm more not even like aware or above it all, but it's like I take all factors into consideration, and I'm very much a fan of the scientific method, experimentation, which is huge to me because people aren't willing to go out and try things, and then it's like they try once, and it's like, no, you have to try it at least 3 times before it becomes a law or whatever. Scientific method. So for me, it's like 2 to 3 times, depending on how I'm feeling, is like I'll give somebody the benefit of the doubt. So if it's something that's like a huge red flag, like you broke a law or something like that. It's like, why? Explain to me why. And if it's like just because, then I'm out as well. There's a bunch of things that will just get me out. But it's like I want to know why. And if you can't answer that question, then that's a red flag for me. So depending on what it is. So that's why I was asking. It's like, are you one of those people who's like red flags, I'm completely out, or do you like try to find out more information? He says,
I think there's certain situations where I'm definitely like red flag, I'm out. Those tend to be the like really obvious ones, like you kick a puppy. Like, sorry, no, I'm not even going to listen to your reason for why you kicked the puppy. Like, I'm just gone. But I think that for me, a lot of red flags, first of all, I think that it's very easy to say that we'll recognize red flags when they come up, when sometimes it's a lot more nuanced than that, which I think is kind of what you're getting at, where it's like there may be logic behind it. There may be a lot of emotions behind it. For me, red flags are something where it's like once I recognize that there's a problem or like a conflict of values, I want to know why, like you do. But also I want to know if the person has the capacity for change in a way that would make me feel like there's a resolution to it. And I think capacity is the key word for it, because change does take time. If you're rude to waiters, that's a thing that needs to happen immediately. Like, it's not hard just to not be a dick. But like, there are certain changes that may take like repeated behaviors and like repeated like mindfulness to create that change. And so there are certain things where it's like, are you aware of what's going on that I see as a red flag? And do you have a willingness to change? And do you have the capacity to change? Because willingness and capacity are two different things as well, where it's like you may want to change, you may see something as a problem and like say, oh yeah, I want to be better or whatever. But like, are you actually in a position with the skills to make that change happen? And when it's a red flag is when all of those are a no. It's like the red flag popped up. You are unwilling to change. You don't have the capacity to change. You're not even aware that you need to make a change. Like, those are when it becomes a red flag. The rest of them, it's kind of like, well, yellow, orange flag kind of thing.
Yep. And you said the buzzword there, capacity for change. So we can go ahead and end this now. You said the ding special word of the day, and then that's it. That's it right now.
Perfect. We're done.
Yes, we are done. That's it. Bye. See you later. Yeah, exactly.
See you in a year.
Oh, yeah. Maybe does it double every single time? So the second time, is it 2 years and then 4 years? I don't know, math joke.
No, I'll be back sooner than that, I'm sure.
Yeah. So the capacity for change. And then we talked about this before too, and made me think about it. I actually kind of did an episode after we talked about it, is for me, when I have a partner, so capacity for change, I see a red flag, quote unquote, and I can kind of do that. My fingers don't disappear. Some people might not know what I'm talking about. My fingers disappear every now and then. Capacity for change with a partner is like, I know how to fix it, but then it's like, I'm also a partner. So if I send somebody an article or a video and they don't want to change by looking at it, or they don't have the self-awareness or anything like that, it's like, how much do I force the issue, spend energy, time, and all that? So that's another thing for me, too, with the capacity for change is if they don't know, how willing are they to do some kind of research on it? So we've talked a lot and we know stuff because we educate people, but not everybody's like that. And a lot of people are in different paths and journeys on the self-awareness space. So for me, I know I have to like realize that I'm not an educator in this particular relationship. I am the partner. So I don't really rant as I would on a podcast like this with a partner, especially if we're like cuddling in bed or something like that. It's like, I'm not here to be an educator. I'm here to cuddle. And I wonder, for you, do you have like a a line that you draw is like, all right, I'm going to help you this much, but after this, I ain't got the time for it. Welcome to the Around the Kinky Campfire podcast advice line. Got a burning question about kink, BDSM, relationships, and or navigating the wild world of alternative lifestyles? You've come to the right place. Whether you're looking for guidance, reassurance, or just a nudge in the right direction, we're here to help. Judgment-free and with a dash of kinky wisdom. Send in your questions and let's talk it out by the fire. No topic is too taboo, no curiosity too small. We're all making mistakes, growing and exploring together. Submit your questions anonymously at Around the Kinky Campfire, campfire with a K, at yahoo.com, or slide into our DMs at Twitter, Kinky Campfire, campfire with a K, YouTube, Around the Kinky Campfire, campfire with a K, or Instagram, Campfire Kinksters, campfire with a K. Let's keep the fire going.
I think if you had asked me in the front half of this year, I would have had a different answer than what I have now.
Oh, man, almost like I knew what I was asking.
I know. I think previously I would have said that I have a very high capacity to educate while I'm in a relationship with someone. I used to think that it's part of a partner journey to kind of like learn together. And I think that's true to an extent still, where it's like everyone should always be learning, growing, improving themselves kind of thing. And we all learn at our own pace and we all learn about different things at different times. Now I have a very low threshold for education within my relationships.
Also, there's
it is not my responsibility.
Learning together and then educating your partner, though.
Yes. If you come to me and you say, I'm new, like in a kink space, if you come to me and you say, I'm new to kink, I'm like, okay, I have follow-up questions, because if I'm interested in you enough to want to continue to like see where this goes, I want to see where you're at. And so a lot of my follow-up questions involve like, the first question I ask literally everyone that I am potentially engaging with in a dynamic or playing with, specifically when it comes to power dynamics and domination and submission, is what does domination look like for you and what does submission look like for you? Because I think it tells you a lot about how people see power dynamics and how they see power play and kink and BDSM. And so there's like a series of questions in my head that I start to go through with partners who say either they're new or experienced, because it's like I want to gauge on my own scale how experienced they are. Like you can be in the lifestyle for years and still have a like beginner level understanding of kink. And so like if I'm talking to someone and they say, yeah, I'm new to the like kink space, I'm new to the swinging space, the queer space, like whatever. But here's the research that I've done. Here's the like books I've read. Here's the podcasts I've listened to. Here's the exploration I've done on my own. That's really helpful for me because it shows me that someone is actively taking like an interest in pursuing that, versus someone who says, oh, I'm looking for a partner to help me explore what it means to submit to someone. Because that's typically what I get with a lot of people is men who want to submit to strong women. But like, I get a lot of people who are like, oh, I've never done this before. I'm hoping to find someone who will like guide me or teach me. And I'm at a point now where I'm like, it's not my job to teach you. That is a self-exploration thing for you. That is a self journey that you need to go on. I can give you resources. I can point you in the direction that I might explore if I was in your position, but it is not my job to hold your hand, because ultimately when it comes to either a play relationship or like an actual like intimate relationship of like a romantic kind or something like that, like a partnership, my job is to be your partner. My job is to be your play partner, your like dom, your sub, your whatever. And in order to do that, I can't be explaining as I go along. That's why the negotiation period happens. And if there are questions that come up in the negotiation period, then like, that's fine. We can answer those. We can go through those. But like, oh God, when I first started specifically exploring my own like dominant side, I had a guy come to me and he was like, yeah, I'm really into TPE or total power exchange. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he kept talking and I was like, hold on, what does that mean to you? And he was like, oh, well, I just really want to like give up everything to someone and like totally submit to someone. And I was like, hold the phone. You don't actually know what total power exchange is. TPE is like a whole dynamic where like everything is handed over. Finances, routines, decision-making, like what you wear, what you eat, like everything is given over to a dominant, typically. Kink is customizable. We can always like find nuance in everything. But for the most part, total power exchange means everything is up to the dominant. Submissive has no say outside of their negotiations and what limits they've like contracted. And so I explained that to this man and he went, oh yeah, I have no interest in doing that. And I said, okay. And that was very early on. And again, this was old Shannon that thought that I could educate and be in dynamics and relationships with people at the same time. And so like, I do think that like, as an educator, I want people to know what they want. And I want to be able to like help people on their journeys, but it is not my responsibility to hand that information to you and like be the one to walk you through it. I hate the concept of training a submissive. I think it's so fucked up.
There's like a mind meld going.
Well, it's the idea of training a submissive in the context in which I see it the most is more often than not a manipulation tactic that is trying to coerce someone into being something that they're not.
Ooh, hot take.
I see it a lot where, and again, there's very like heteronormative gender norms going on here. An older male dominant and a younger female submissive will meet, decide that they want to explore a dynamic. She's less experienced. He is supposedly more experienced. And he offers to train her, is what I see a lot. And to me, what happens in that scenario is that he teaches her what submission means to him. And he is explaining what he wants out of dynamic rather than her saying, this is what submission means to me and this is what I'm hoping to get out of a dynamic. Mm-hmm. And a lot of boundaries can easily get crossed in that situation because a newer submissive might think like, oh, well, this is what's expected of me. But you don't have to do everything. And just because someone is into something doesn't mean that you have to be receptive to that. It's like the whole thing with like everybody has this really odd misconception that like impact play has to include pain play when fundamentally impact play is sensation play. And so like I see it so many times, and I've been critiqued in club atmospheres and like public play atmospheres before where it's like, yeah, you should give it to him or like go harder. And I'm like, that's not what I negotiated with this person. That's not what this person asked for. I know they don't like pain. I'm not going to do that. But so many people who are newer to like kink and the lifestyle think, oh, well, this is part of what it means to submit to someone. And so therefore I have to endure it. But no one should ever have to like endure anything in order to be a part of a dynamic or like play or have a good time or whatever. Like, kink is meant to be an exploration of self, not an exploration of someone else's fantasies.
Yep, exactly. Been there before when people critique from outside the scene. It's like, you are not part of this. Get out of here. I want to start shooing people away, which is one thing I learned recently, being able to edit things in real life like that. Like, hold on a second, you need to get out of here because you're not part of the scene. Like, when I first came in, even like for almost a decade, I didn't realize having that power was a thing in my life in general. So being able to learn that lesson from outside kink and then bring it into kink is a great thing. And it's like, whew, yeah, this whole entire thing is an a la carte menu. So we can do it how we want and then negotiate it. So, whew, yeah, it's rough when you see it. And tell me if you've heard this or not, but especially being on like Reddit or something where somebody goes in, am I allowed to say a safe word? And it's like, what? Why are you asking on the internet of this question? Like, to have this conversation with your partner about this, are you allowed? And they said that I can't say a safe word. Well, I guess you need to leave because you can 100% do that. What? 100%, just like you said, very much negotiable. Whew, man, that was, yeah, because how do we get that across to people that you can do that? Because it's the whole entire thing. And I know for me, it's like, am I allowed to do this? And it's like, oh, yes, I can edit this how I want to and have this relationship, whatever it is, dynamic, anything, and then I can negotiate for what I want. Yeah. Oh, man.
I just think most people don't know what they want, and they don't want to put in the work to figure it out. And so they walk into these spaces, or they walk into a new relationship or a new dynamic, and they don't know how to communicate their needs. And so their needs aren't met. And I mean, I basically had the opposite happen, where I walked into a relationship this year and said, this is who I am. And these are like my expectations around what my relationships look like. And I really struggled to maintain that boundary. I knew what I wanted. I knew, like, these are my values when it comes to what solo polyamory meant to me, what being child-free by choice meant to me, what being kinky and a swinger and bisexual means to me. Like, I know these things about myself, but putting it into practice is so difficult. But most people don't even want to do the first step of figuring it out. So when they get to the second step of trying to, like, involve another person in it, it gets even more complicated, and it gets even harder to maintain those boundaries and say, I don't like pain. Because it's like, well, you never really, like, thought about it beforehand when you were entering into this relationship, so you never negotiated that you didn't like pain. That makes sense?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Because I've dated people that were into pain, but they didn't like bruises. And it was like, what? It's like, oh, yeah, I like when you bite me, but I don't want to bruise. I'm like, I can't. What kind of did? And then you bruise easily. It's like, what are we doing here? I don't. But yeah, there's people that are into impact pit, but they don't want to be bound. So yeah, a la carte menu. And for you, how did you, like, navigate the quote unquote mistakes? And then now afterwards, do you take more like metrics as far as your boundaries now? Because you said you're child free by choice. Do you still date or open to dating people with children?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, all those boundaries and
all those things.
Yeah, all the different things. I'm going through that myself now because I'm child free by choice. But it's like, I'm cool with dating people with children, but it's like, I'm not trying to be a parent, so I'll be like a ghost role model, that type of thing. But I've had parents that I've dated, and then they'll kind of like make me the disciplinarian, even though I didn't agree to that. Like, they'll use me as a threat, and it's like, ugh, I didn't agree to that. So I had to shore that up a little bit. And I have no desire to meet the kids, and I try to let people know that ahead of time. And most people aren't looking for like a quote unquote father figure for their kids. So I'm wondering how that line changes for me, like every few weeks. I don't know. Yeah. So I'd like to know what your opinion about that is.
I think for me, like, I want to be an adult figure that children can trust if I'm in their lives. I want to be a wine aunt to my friends' kids, or if my brother chooses to have children, like that sounds fucking fantastic. But like you said, I don't want to be a parent. I don't want to be a disciplinarian. I don't want to be the one organizing calendars for a household. I don't want to do the meal planning. I don't want to organize vacations. Like the list of responsibilities that come with having children don't interest me. And so I think that I am open to, right now, I am open to dating people who have children that are older, specifically because they have a lot of those things figured out. And quite frankly, older kids have different demands than younger kids do. Mm-hmm. There's a different amount of labor and a different type of labor that's put on parents. And I've found that the people that I've dated in the past who have older children have a firmer boundary in place when it comes to those kids. But I think that's the thing, is like, I'm open to dating people with children, but that parent has to have a very firm boundary around what they will and will not allow with their kids when it comes to me. And they have to have a very firm understanding of what my boundaries are when it comes to children and how I will or will not interact with them. And I need to be better about saying no to things and like really holding firm to those boundaries. I think it's one thing to like say, oh, I'm open to meeting kids. If it's been like a negotiated thing that like we've talked about for a while kind of things, I don't want to rush into anything when it comes to kids. But I do understand that for a lot of parents, like children are a very large part of their lives. And so like, I'm not going to shut down that part of them. I'm not going to say, don't talk about them. Don't show me photos. Don't tell me about them. But meeting them is a bigger step for me now. But the second that like I get squirrely now is when people start like asking for favors regarding children, where it's like, hey, like, would you mind picking them up? Or like, I had some bizarre asks in my in my relationship that I had this year.
Okay.
Yeah. And so like, that's the thing, is like, I had to learn that by kind of going through those experiences to know like, oh, that's not something I'm comfortable with. That's not a level of involvement that I want. So you learn from your mistakes.
You learn from your mistakes. The theme here at Around the Kinky Campfire. Thank you for summing that up for us, Shannon. Because, yes, we like to take our experiences, try them out, whether voluntarily or involuntarily, and go ahead and learn from that. One last question for you before we go, because we're almost out of time, is do you write down your boundaries now? Or you just kind of have like a floating list mentally?
No, I don't, but I should.
Yeah. I'm wondering if I should put that on all the different profiles. But there's always nuances. Like, yeah. I used to put don't want kids, and then people with kids was like, oh, I guess we can't date because you don't want kids. It's like, no, you can have kids. I don't want kids. So, like, people don't put that together. It's like, okay, but everybody has their own experiences, and it's like, hold on, we need to ask these questions. But I feel like if you put a finite thing like that on a profile, people won't ask the question. So I'm always wondering how, speaking of presentation, how to present that, yes, if your kids are above the age of 18, I don't really care. And I'm not picking them up from school. And it's like, how do you put all of that without putting all of that? Like, and then it's going to be like a TLDR, and then 10 paragraphs later, people are just not going to read all that. So I wonder how that goes. But yeah, metrics. But for me, I don't really write it down because neurospicy, hate writing stuff down.
Yeah.
And then also, it's
I'll lose it.
Yeah. And then, like, every week is going to change. So maybe I should just get used to making a Google Doc that gets edited on a regular basis. I mean, if anybody does online dating, they say you should update it at least once a month. So add new pictures, change up the About Me section. Yeah.
Once a month? Oh my God.
We can talk about online dating. I have coaching for that I'm going to start making a class for, because that's a big old thing. Yes, those are one of the coaching things that I'm going to do is online dating profiles. Yeah, there's certain ways you have to have your picture, and the whole thing of be yourself is bullshit. But we can go into more depth about that as well next time on Around the Kinky Campfire. Thank you, Shannon, for just going over everything that we talk about here on Around the Kinky Campfire on a regular basis. Capacity for change, boundaries, red flags, having negotiations, and you should negotiate everything, campsters. Everything is up for negotiations. Just like Shannon said, you can be a part of the kids' lives and sometimes meet them. I'm not a meter of kids usually, but, you can have those conversations. You are allowed to have those conversations. I've seen it online where people ask, am I allowed to ask? And it's like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Talk to your partner about this. It's like, you can do this yourself. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. And tell them about it. This is why we get online to talk about these things, because it's getting tired of yelling at your phone or your computer, because it's like, I have answers to these questions, and it's crazy that people go out and just don't talk to anybody they know, don't talk about friends and family. They just put the question out on the internet, and it's like, okay, let's just have a place where you have all those questions answered, and then also we can do workshops at conventions, like Smut Lovers, and have all these questions answered. So that's it for now. Thank you for joining us at Around the Kinky Campfire. Thank you, Shannon, for coming again, making your yearly pilgrimage to the campfire, the chairs, logs. I'm a log sitter around a campfire. I don't know about you, but
I'm a ground person. I love a good picnic blanket.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you meant the bare ground. I was like, ew. But picnic blanket. Okay.
Picnic blanket. If we're going to do a campfire, it's going to be a picnic blanket.
Okay. The look on your face. There are people that sit on the bare ground, and those people are weird. Harsh judgment from here.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. Anything you want to say? I'm going to try to put the socials in there if it's changed from last year, and then you can send it to me.
Nope.
Anything? You said you had a new book. Is that going to be in the thing as well? You want to?
Oh. Yeah, I had a book come out in September, and it's actually it's called Cherished by Shannon Elliott, and it is about a engaged couple navigating some changes in their relationships. So one of them is diagnosed with diabetes, and it's how they figure out their new relationship dynamics and how they negotiate things. And I don't know. I loved writing it. It was great. But you're welcome to go read.
Ooh, sounds good. Talking about that diabetes. The new meme thing. Okay, that's all for now. New episodes, usually me by myself, or if I randomly get a guest and I catch them and wrangle them and force them onto this thing. Every Thursday around noon Eastern time on all the popular platforms. You'll hear it in the intro and the outro, how to contact us. Let us know what you think on the Instagram, or send me an email on the Yahoos of what you think about boundaries and other questions you can ask. And if you have stuff you'd want to learn in a class, let me know that as well. I'll put that in the class notes. But for now, this is H.H. Julius, or Enil the Great, or something I said at the beginning, something like that. And Shannon here with me around the Kinky Campfire. Hello. That's a wrap for this episode of the Around the Kinky Campfire podcast. We love having you by the fire, and we'd love to hear from you. Got a kinky question, a steamy story, or a topic you want us to cover? Slide into our DMs and send us a message at Around the Kinky Campfire, campfire with a K, at yahoo.com. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're listening. Your support helps keep the flames burning and the conversations flowing. Follow us on Twitter, Kinky Campfire, Campfire with a K, YouTube, Around the Kinky Campfire, Campfire with a K, or Instagram, Campfire Kinksters, Campfire with a K. To stay in the loop, join the community and keep the kink alive between episodes on Thursdays. Until next time, stay safe, stay sexy, and keep that fire burning.